Pratham Test Prep YouTube channel. I'm Ashish Bhargav, and welcome to another episode of Daily News Analysis, which we do from Monday to Friday at sharp 11:30 a.m. In this session, we discuss about all the important news from all major newspaper, which we will cover in this session. Majorly, we discuss about the Hindu and Indian Express, as we know that maximum number of questions they fetch from the two important newspaper. And daily news analysis, we discuss about all the news events like national news, international news, economy based news, sports based news, science and tech, personal news, summits and conference, miscellaneous. And apart from that, we also discuss about Supreme Court verdict, which is very important, because that verdict is important, especially for the any amendments, any bills, any high court verdict also important, especially for the law entrance exam. And one more thing that we can say, that we also discuss about any state initiative. One more request to everyone, if you are new in this channel, please subscribe the channel as well and share to the friends and family group, because everyone must should aware about what is happening around us. Here is the quote of the day: if your voice is high, only a few people will hear. If your thought is high, then many people will listen. And to inculcate such kind of thought process, you have to develop the temperament to read the newspaper, which is very essential to solve the question that is based on current affairs, or develop such kind of thought process also, which is very important. And just one small positive thought in the morning that can change your whole day. That is quote of Dalai Lama: study hard, no matter if it seems impossible, no matter if it takes time, no matter if you have to work all night. Just remember that the feeling of success is the best thing in the entire world. And at the end of the session, we discuss about questions of the day, and that questions of the day is very important, because it gives you immense idea that what kind of questions that can be framed in your exam. So चलो स्टार्ट करते हैं. हियर इज़ अ वेरी फर्स्ट न्यूज़. ये दो आर्टिकल्स आप देखेंगे, दोनों में आपको गांधी के बारे में दी गई हुई है, बिकॉज इट वॉज असैसिनेटेड ऑन 30th January. So initially we discussed about the first one, because the both of the article that was based on editorial based. As we know that the Mahatma Gandhi, who was assassinated 75 years ago, is recognized as a universal icon. And if you talk about his just a second, sorry. So if you talk about just a second, guys. Yeah. So if you talk about Gandhi, which was assassinated 75 years ago, his life's works fundamentally aimed at ending colonial subjugation. If that scourge has disappeared from today's world, it is very large part due to Gandhi. So Mahatma Gandhi, it is sometimes said, is an Indian who was no longer for India alone, he is for the whole world. So as we know that in mid 2007, UN declared the Mahatma Gandhi's birthday, October 2nd, as the International Day of Non-Violence. That is called a International Day of Non-Violence. International Day of Non-Violence. So as we know that the Mahatma Gandhi birthday, that was UN was declared, that is International Day of Non-Violence, and the UN had a membership of 192 countries in 2007, and of these 140 countries came forward to co-sponsor the resolution which established by the annual commemoration of UN General Assembly, and that was 2/3 of the UN membership, an impressive number considering that some country representatives in the world. Now we need to understand also Martin Luther King, the junior US apostle of non-violence and civil disobedience, who met his end like Gandhi, is the best example. Nelson Mandela, who became a symbol of struggle of apartheid in the South Africa, and later became a model of all of Africa, is another Gandhi who was assassinated 75 years ago, would have been happier with the legacy than a Nobel Peace Prize for which he was overlooked. So Gandhi followers often his omission by those who awarded the Nobel honors as a bite on the peace prize, and Mahatma could not the careless. So in short, another article, if you look it very carefully, again talking about Gandhi and Amritkal. So to Gandhi goes to the credit of transforming what was idea of Indian independence among small, educated and English-speaking elite into a mass of people-centered movement. He gave the struggle for freedom a vernacular dimension rooted in the Indians' own civilization heritage. He knew from his own experience how easy it was to slip comfortably into the rank of privileged elite and lose touch with the mass of Indian people. So it was a concern which led him to suggest that after India gained independence in 1947, the Congress party disbanded itself a political party and remained a mass movement dedicated to the social and economic transformation of the peoples of India. So if you look at very carefully, that is the article is based on editorial talking about the sacrifices that has done to by the Gandhi. Now moving to the next article, here is talking about polar vortex. What is polar vortex is because it's chilly weather in Asia is due to the same phenomenon of broad extreme cold of US last month. So we have to understand first what exactly is polar vortex is. So scientists says Asia extreme cold legacy is a result of called polar vortex. The same weather phenomenon brought exceptionally cold weather in the state of United States last month. So as we know that the earth is divided into the here is Antarctic Circle, south hemisphere, north hemisphere. The science behind this, the polar vortex, is that it occurs in tropopause and extend into the stratosphere. And as we can say that the northern hemisphere is about 60.7% water and 39.3% land. And here we can see the southern hemisphere is about 80.9% of water and 19% of land. This imbalanced structure of the earth is talking about like the some parts of the earth that observe heat in a different proportion, and some different parts of the earth is observing heat, and that's why it's called an imbalanced structure. Here we can see here is troposphere and here we can say stratosphere. So polar vortex is, we can say that, so polar vortex is held place by the earth rotations and temperature differences between the Arctic and, we can say, middle latitude between the Arctic, and where those variations in temperatures grow the polar vortex can shift to the southern sides. So we have to understand the science behind the polar vortex. As we know that the polar vortex basically is a large area of low pressure and cold air surrounding the earth north and south pole. And why it happened to the low pressure and cold air? The reason behind, because of the imbalance of the earth structure. And the term vortex refers to the counterclockwise flow of air that helps keep the colder air close to the poles, which is called a left globe. And here we can say stable polar vortex, and here is cold air contained, as we can say strong jet stream. See, that is somehow we can say it's similar to the what structure. As we know that in December rain is responsible what geographical phenomena, and we have discussed many times in the newspaper analysis. So strong jet stream that cold air obtained from that part, and here is the weak jet stream, and the wavy polar vortex, that cold air moves to the southern directions and that warm airs move to the northern directions. So air pressure and winds around the Arctic switch between those two phases, which is known to be Arctic oscillation, and contribute to the winter weather pattern. And another name of this one, we can say, this is similar structure that we can see is western disturbance. So western disturbance is somehow responsible for the winter rain, which we are facing in Delhi also. So this is all about the polar vortex. Now we move to the next one. So India home to more than 70% of world's tiger population, Supreme Court. So India now home to 70% of world tiger, and the center has told the Supreme Court that India had about 2,967 tigers, approximately 70% of global wild tiger population. And it was revealed by the NTCA, which is National Tiger Conservation Authority, in an affidavit filed in the court. So, if you talk about NTCA, that is the Government of India, has launched Project Tiger on 1st April 1973. So make sure the date should be remembered. The Project Tiger was launched on the year of 1973 on the day 1st April. And what was the purpose to establishment this one? The promote conservation of the tiger. And the project has been largest species conservation initiative of its kind in the world. And the project is centrally sponsored scheme of the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. It provides funding support to tiger range states for in situ conservation in tigers and designated tiger reserve. So India has achieved the target of doubling the tiger count 4 years ahead of deadline, and the top tiger states of India, as per the population, MP is in first position, second position is Karnataka, and third position is Uttarakhand. This data need to be remembered. The maximum tiger we found in India is Madhya Pradesh, MP, Karnataka, and third position is Uttarakhand. And the top state in terms of percentage increase, which we can find the last 5 years, which is again Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra having second position, and third is Karnataka. And the worst performing state is Chhattisgarh and Mizoram saw a decline in tiger population. But you will be wondered, you got to know that we can say tiger reserve in our country where there is no tiger left. So there is 3 tiger reserve. We can say Buksa, which is in West Bengal, Dampa Tiger Reserve, Mizoram, and Palamu, which is in Jharkhand Tiger Reserve, do not have a single tigers now, as per the report. And no tigers were found in the Mizoram state. Pench National Park in Madhya Pradesh and Periyar National Park in Kerala are the top rated tiger reserve in India. So make sure the 3 tiger reserve, there are no tiger left now. Buksa, Dampa, and Palamu. Moving to the next one. Student enrollments in higher studies rose by 7.5% as per the ASHI data. So Union Education Minister, which is Dharmendra Pradhan, released the All India Survey of Higher Education, AISHE. All India Survey of Higher Education. All India Survey of Higher Education, which shows 7.5% increase in student enrollment across the country. And as we can see that this chart shows gender-wise distribution at different levels. Higher education, female enrollment as share of total of 49% only. As we can see here, PhD, post-graduation, here is UG, here is PG diploma and diploma certificate integrated. So we can see that the gap of male and female, despite having many schemes that has to be launched by the government. Nothing more is important to read in this article. Now moving to the next one. With an eye for fraud, warning bells. So the short spell of recently the news is that Adani के जो shares थे that was down और वो बहुत लो चली गई थी. उसके बाद से फिर हिडनबर्ग की रिपोर्ट आई. जानने की कोशिश करते हैं कि इंडिया की जो रेगुलेटरी फ्रेमवर्क है जो उसके ऊपर काम करती है उनमें क्या लूप होल्स हैं. So Adani Group stock hammered, investors lose by 4.2 lakh crore in 2 days. So recently US-based investment research firm Hindenburg Research ने publish किया research on Adani Group. And the report just a second. And the report claimed that Adani Group is holding a short position on the Adani stocks, signaling that the share of Adani Group are overpriced and will dip in value soon. सो अगर हिडनबर्ग रिसर्च की बात करें तो रिपोर्ट जो है इस पर मेंशन क्या करता है. बहुत अडानी ग्रुप की बात की थी, वन ऑफ द लार्जेस्ट ग्रुप ऑफ कंपनीज इन इंडिया विथ स्पेशलाइज इन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, प्रोजेक्ट इन कोल, पोर्ट्स, सीमेंट, ग्रीन एनर्जी एंड इवन एडिबल ऑयल. So it has made the news in India lately because of its rapid expansion in the cement industry, buying majorly stake in Ambuja Cement and ACC Limited, as well as news media buying around 30% share of NDTV. Its owner, Mr. Gautam Adani, has been one of the top richest person in the world for the some time now. So अगर हिडनबर्ग रिसर्च की बात करें कि एक US based research firm है that offers services in forensic financial research with a focus on equity, credit and derivatives analysis. Their fundamental research often includes studying and reporting on companies with accounting irregularities, unethical practice in business, related party transactions, bad management, etc. And its primary method for investment is said to be the short selling. And short selling basically involves borrowing an assets. Now, in order to sell it, only to buy it back at lower price and then return to the borrowed assets. And the report claimed that Adani Group were pulling the largest con in the corporate history also. Now here is World Leprosy Day. So the World Health Organization on Sunday urged countries, especially those in the Southeast Asia region, to urgently address gaps in leprosy service. And World Leprosy Day we celebrate on which date? So we have to think about here is. So globally, last Sunday of January is observed as World Leprosy Day. However, in India, the day is marked on 30th January to coincidence with the death anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, which is known as Fight Against the Disease. And the World Health Organization has announced Act Now and Leprosy as a theme of the year World Leprosy Day. And the theme stressed three main points. One, the elimination of leprosy is possible. Second is that the immediate action is required, that includes resources and commitment. And third, that leprosy is preventable and treatable, hence people still suffering from it is a needless thing. If you talk about leprosy as a chronic infectious disease that may lead to severe disfiguring skin sores and nerve damage in the arms, legs and skin areas around your body, and also known as Hansen's disease. And it's a chronic bacterial infection that is caused by Mycobacterium leprae bacteria. So that is caused by the, not virus, that is caused by the bacterial disease. India is called to modify the Indus Water Treaty. This news is talking about the yesterday session. We have also discussed about newspaper analysis, that what exactly is IWT, which is Indus Water Treaty. So in short, if you talk about, like in a notice to Pakistan on January 25th, India said that it has been compelled to call for the modification of 63 years old Indus Water Treaty, owing to Pakistan persistent objections over India, Kishanganga and Ratal hydropower project, which we have discussed already. And INT prescribed how water from the 6 rivers of India Indus would be shared between India and Pakistan, and India to build run over the river hydropower projects which do not require live storage of water, and Pakistan is allowed to raise objection over such project, and if it does not find them to complain with the rules. And as per the rules is that the 3 parts of the water that has to be used by the India and another one that has to be used by the Pakistan. Now again, same thing that we can see that in this article, Indus water system, rivers comprise the main river, its tributary namely Ravi, Beas, Satluj, Jhelum and Chenab. और जो treaty है provide करता है कि India absolute control to all the waters of the eastern rivers Ravi, Satluj and Beas, and Pakistan shall receive of for unrestricted use of all waters of western rivers which is Indus, Jhelum and Chenab. And India ने permit किया है use of waters of the western rivers for domestic use, non-consumption use, agriculture and generation of hydroelectric power subject to certain conditions. Now moving to the next one. Command posting for the women officers in the army. In this article, इसमें हमें क्या चीज़ें जानने की ज़रूरत है कि like Army stated that the process of selection of women officers to command assignment in the rank of colonel and major step towards bringing them to the male counterparts has been conducted. ये एक लैंडमार्क जजमेंट है इन द बबीता पुनिया केस में फरवरी 2020 में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने डायरेक्ट किया कि वुमेन ऑफिसर्स इन द आर्मी शुड बी ग्रांटेड पीसी एज वेल एज कमांड पोस्टिंग इन ऑल सर्विसेज अदर देन कम्बैट. तो कौन सा लैंडमार्क जजमेंट था? बबीता पुनिया केस, जिसमें कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अलाउ की थी, विच इज कॉल्ड बबीता पुनिया केस. So Babita Punya case, Supreme Court allowed all women's in the women officer in the army, right? So if we talk about India Army is conducting women officers special selection board for promotion from the rank of lieutenant colonel to colonel, and nearly 80 women officers in the army have been cleared so far the rank of colonel, making them eligible to command in this respective arms and services for the first time. So यहाँ पे 244 women officers being considered for promotion against 108 vacancies in various arms and services. So if you talk about participation of women in defense sector, so the induction of women as officers in Indian Navy commenced from the year 1991. And that same year that we can say there was a LPG reforms were there. Liberalization, privatization, globalization. Since then, Indian Navy has gradually opened all branches to women officers, including induction through NDA. In Navy, women are engaged in activities such as firing torpedoes and missiles at enemy warship. Further, for the first time, women are also being recruited for sailors entries under the Agnipada scheme, which is 2022 से जिसमें की बहुत controversy भी हुई थी. Dementia, the nature of disease, how it progresses and way you can help out. So dementia, we can say that this is बेसिकली क्रॉनिक और प्रोग्रेसिव नेचर. इसमें क्या होता है कि जो कॉग्निटिव फंक्शंस होती है ब्रेन की वो कम हो जाती है. दैट इज़ इट अफेक्ट्स मेमोरी, थिंकिंग, ओरिएंटेशन, कॉम्प्रिहेंशन, कैलकुलेशन, लर्निंग कैपेसिटी, लैंग्वेज एंड जजमेंट. सो इसमें कॉन्शियसनेस बस इफेक्ट नहीं होती है. 75% ऑफ टोटल डेथ्स ड्यू टू डिमेंशिया आर वुमेन, एंड डिसएबिलिटी एडजस्ट दिस ईयर ड्यू टू डिमेंशिया रफली 60% हायर इन वुमेन देन इन मैन. और ये केसेस ज़्यादातर वुमेन्स में ज़्यादा होती है डिमेंशिया की केसेस. And Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employee Guarantee Act, और many times we have discussed about the same article, but in short मैं फिर से इसे डिस्कस कर दूँ. महात्मा गांधी नेशनल रूरल एम्प्लॉयमेंट गारंटी एक्ट, इसे हम अर्लियर कहते थे नेशनल रूरल एम्प्लॉयमेंट गारंटी एक्ट, जो पास किया गया 2005 में टू ऑगमेंटेड एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन फॉर एंड सोशल सिक्योरिटी इन इंडिया. And the scheme is demand driven wage employment scheme which functions under the Ministry of Rural Development. Every adult members of household in the rural areas with the job card is eligible for a job under this scheme. And ये जो इन schemes होती है that envisages providing 100 days of guaranteed wage employment in a financial year to adult member volunteers for unskilled manual work. Make sure ये 100 days की guarantee wages employment provide करता है for the unskilled manual work के लिए. And it covers all districts of India except the ones with 100% urban population. जिस डिस्ट्रिक्ट की 100% अर्बन पॉपुलेशन है दैट एमजी नरेगा वहाँ पे काम नहीं करती है. एंड नाउ इज टाइम टू क्वेश्चंस ऑफ द डे, एंड दैट इज इम्पॉर्टेंट, दैट गिव्स यू द आइडिया दैट व्हाट काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस दैट इज पॉसिबल टू आस्क. हियर इज द फर्स्ट वन. द मेनका गांधी वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया केस 1978 इज नोन फॉर setting parameters for governors rule in a state, striking a balance between fundamental rights and directive principles, expansion of rights available under Article 21 of the Constitution, and rarest of rare doctrine. C is the right answer. In the Menka case 1978, the Supreme Court overruled the judgment in Gopalan case by taking the wider interpretation of Article 21. Article 21 is also talking about right to privacy. And it ruled that right of life and personal liberty of a person can be deprived of a law provided by the procedure prescribed by the law is reasonable, fair and just. And in other words, it has introduced the American expressions due process of law, which is Article 21 should be available not only against arbitrary executive action but also against arbitrary legislative action as well. And court ने बाद में ये बताया था, mention किया था कि right to life is embodied in Article 21 is not merely confined to animal existence or survival, but it includes with an ambit the right to live with human dignity and all those aspects of life which go make a man's life meaningful, complete and worth living. What is the benefit of countries gets from the developing country tag at the World Trade Organization? First one, it gets longer time frames to implement the WTO agreements. It allows other countries to offer preferential treatment. it gets zero duty and zero quota access for all export to the developed country. So B is the right answer. So as we know that, what are the benefits of developing country tag? Certain World Trade Organization agreement gives developing countries special rights through special and differential treatment provisions, which can grant developing countries longer time frames to implement the agreements and even commitments to raise trading opportunity for such countries. And WTO pacts are often aimed at reduction in government support to certain industries over time and set more lenient target for developing nations and grant them more time to achieve these targets compared to developed ones. Third one, in recent years, which of the following are the largest lender in education loan sector in India? Private banks, public sector banks, regional rural banks and cooperative banks. So largest lender, if you talk about, if in terms of India, so obvious the public sector bank would be the right answer. So low value education loans up to 7.5 lakhs constitute a bulk of the defaulters in education loan portfolio of banks, and non-performing assets in education loans of public sector banks obtained through the Right to Information Act show that default rate is much lower to loans disbursed to the students in premier institutes as compared to those in secondary institute. नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट्स क्या होती हैं? जो बैंक से आपने पैसा लिया, बैंक को रिटर्न नहीं किया, तो बैंक के लिए वो परफॉर्मिंग एसेट्स नहीं है, उसकी नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट्स हैं आफ्टर 90 days. And PSB are the largest lender, public sector banks in the education loan sector, and have a market share of about 91%. And उसमें आता है आपका रीजनल रूरल बैंक्स एंड प्राइवेट बैंक्स constitute the remaining 9% of the market. Fourth one, what is the process that occurs during nuclear fission? So process of combining two or more atoms to form a larger atom, process of changing the energy levels of an atom, process of releasing energy from an atom, process of splitting an atom into two or more smaller atoms. So obvious D is the right answer. Nuclear fission is the process of splitting a heavy atom such as uranium or plutonium into two or more smaller atoms, releasing a large amount of energy in the process, and this energy can be harnessed to generate electricity in the nuclear power plants, which is, we can say, fission. Here we can fusion, where two or more lighter atoms into a larger one. Here it splits a larger atom into the two or more smaller ones. Fifth one, consider the following statement regarding earthquake. All natural earthquakes take place in the lithosphere. The denser the material, the lower the velocity of the earthquake waves. Third one, the surface waves are more destructive. Which of the above statement is the correct one? C is the right answer, because all natural earthquakes takes place in the lithosphere only. And earthquakes waves are basically two types. पहला body waves and surface waves. Body waves जो generate होती है due to release of energy at the focus. Focus जो उसके lithosphere के नीचे वाला portions है, जो basically plate tectonics theory is also responsible, and move in the all direction traveling through the body of the earth. And the body waves interact with the surface rocks and generate new set of waves called surface waves. And these waves move along the surface. The velocity of wave changes as they travel through material with different densities. The denser the material, the higher is the velocity, because density is, we can say, that is a mass per volume area. Mass per volume area, that is known to be a density. तो जितना dense होगा material उतनी higher होगी velocity. And the surface waves are last to report to seismograph. These waves are more destructive and they cause displacement of rocks, and hence the collapse of structure occurs. So this is all about the session, student. We'll meet you at 3 p.m. today at deep dive session, which we will discuss very important topic, that how the Padma award is getting, what is the process, what is the committee, can anyone refuse the Padma award. We'll discuss at 3 p.m. How was the class and all. If you have any query regarding this session, please let me know in the comment section and share this video to your friends and family group, because everyone should must aware about what is happening around us. And if you are new in this channel, please subscribe the channel as well, and do not forget to press the bell icon so you will get the notification of all our Pratham Test Prep mentors. I hope you enjoyed the session a lot. We'll meet you at 3 p.m. today. Thank you so much. Stay tuned. Bye bye and take care.